What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a Nosebleed Perspective, where today I'm joined by a man who just watched his Las Vegas Raiders beat the defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. Dedicated college football fan,
Yes.
Boomer Sooner. Had a rough start to the season, to say the least. Big college
That's why I've been
football.
hiding.
Yeah. Big college football guy, good friend of mine, making his second appearance on the Nosebleeds, coming from you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Tyler Johnson, welcome, man.
Thank you, sir. I've been hiding a little bit, but now that Oklahoma beat Texas, I think I've come out hiding. We're ready to talk college football again, so we're good to go.
Yeah, that was a great game, by the way, too. It
Yeah,
was
it
fun to
was.
watch. I've been kind of slacking on college football this year. I don't know if it's just because just weird, and I don't know, Louisville just I had a lot of expectations. I've talked about it, especially with the other guys, real high on them this year going into the season with our schedule that we got. But it's been a tough road so far, to say the least.
Louisville couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Hey,
Defense is
well,
terrible. It's bad.
I feel like the defense has been bad since I have been alive. I don't remember a time we've had a couple good defenses and definitely good players, but man, I mean, I feel like it's just stressful my whole life watching them try to play defense. I mean, you
Yeah,
just if you throw it over the top, you're going to score 50 points a game against Louisville. It's just always been like that. So,
yeah, that's very true.
I mean, Jair Alexander played for Louisville. He played corner a little bit, but he was mainly like a punt return guy. He played corner and he was decent at it. But I never thought he would be like what he is now. Obviously,
I
uh,
thought he'd be better than Lamar in the NFL. I really
yeah.
did.
Well, I mean, hey, he's Jair Alexander. He's up there right now. He's one of the best corners right now, I'd say at least. But anyway, since we have somebody who's so in depth in college football, I thought we'd thought it was actually your idea. Talk about some players over the past, however long, some of them who didn't pan out the way we thought they would, or if you have any guys who came out of nowhere that you thought would absolutely suck, and they're doing pretty good. So I'll let you start it off. Who's a player that kind of fits the bill?
I just love this topic. I've never talked to anyone about it, but I've always thought about it. A
Okay.
player that I thought would be really good. He was the 8th overall pick, 2011. It's Jake Locker. He played 4 years in the NFL. Little did I know that he hated football. He retired and said, I want to play baseball. And
Oh,
I thought he'd be really good, but he lasted 4 years and he got hurt all the time at Washington, was inaccurate. Then got to the NFL, got hurt all the time, was inaccurate. Should have saw it, but I thought he was going to be good.
Jake Locker. Yeah, I remember him. I just remember he played for Washington. And who did he play for? The Titans? Is that who?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, he was definitely a bust. But
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't talk about this with you without bringing up your boy, Jamarcus Russell. Obviously, he was an absolute beast in college at LSU. He could throw a football 600 yards. But the dude he went to the Raiders. They drafted him. And I mean,
Didn't work.
it just did not work out. He was a bum. He was the guy who the coaches sent him the blank discs, right, of tape.
Yep.
Him to go watch tape, and they asked if he watched, and he was like, "Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, blah blah blah." And there was nothing on the tape. So bad
I've
look.
also there was a story last year that a team for the combine put $100 bill in a playbook just to see if he noticed, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I read the playbook." Just never mentioned money because he obviously didn't go through their playbook, and it's like that was a nightmare.
Yeah, he had. That's. I mean, it's got to suck. I remember when he came out to the draft. I mean, Raiders fans were hyped about him. How could you not be? I mean, but the dude just was not ready to be a professional athlete.
I could give you one more and some honorable mentions on who I thought would be better if you want, real fast.
All right, hit him.
Josh Rosen. I know it's not over for him. I know he's on a practice squad. I thought he'd be good. I had him the second best quarterback of that draft class. I thought just UCLA, but I don't know what happened. But he didn't really get a chance. But also Arizona was terrible in his part of it. So, but
Yeah, I was big on Rosen too. Actually, I think I had talked about it. Obviously, not on here because it was a few years ago. But I thought he was like the best ball thrower in that draft class. I thought he was really
I thought so
good.
too.
He came out, got drafted, and was it like 10th overall? And he was like, there were like 9 or 10 mistakes made ahead of me, and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's
And
on the
yeah, he get a little bit of karma there.
He's on the Bucks practice squad.
Yeah, yeah.
For the honorable mentions, I put Justin Blackman, the Oklahoma State
Yep.
receiver. I put Kevin White, who I wanted over Amari Cooper in the draft day year, I remember. And
Yeah,
then
Gibby, he was a big Kevin White guy. I think me and Gibby had a bet the first year because he got drafted with the same draft class as Devontae Parker, and we had a bet whoever puts up the most yards or something. But I think one of them got hurt, so it was kind of null and void. But yeah, Kevin White, he was like a big, like he was, yeah, and
he was good at West Virginia.
he got
And
hurt
then
though. You never know what could have happened. He was hurt, and then people get hurt and they just don't come back the same.
he got hurt a lot though, where at a point it's just like, all right, I kind of got to move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the last honorable mention, I put 95% of air raid quarterbacks in college. I think they're all just going to make it. I'm still waiting for Colt Brennan, Timmy Chang, just like Hawaii quarterbacks, just any air raid quarterback. I'm like, I think if they gave him a chance, I think they could work out. I know they don't, but that's all I got for the players I thought would be better.
Yeah, maybe the way the NFL's moving, they would maybe do a little better. You're seeing kind of like Gardner Minshew coming out of that Washington State offense where they just throw the ball every play. I never thought he would be anything, but we could talk about him in a little bit too. But yeah, I got a couple guys. Pretty much that whole 2007 draft class, like I mentioned before the show, just a bunch of duds. Let me read you some names. Kevin Kolb, he was supposed to be pretty good. Troy Smith won the Heisman that year. Everybody loved Troy Smith that year. I don't know if people remember him, but he was a big deal. And they tried to play him at like receiver or something. Just didn't work out for him. Drew Stanton, like a career backup to the backup. I think he was in Arizona for a while. Jordan Palmer, Carson Palmer's little brother. He does a lot of stuff with quarterbacks now for training purposes, but other than that, he never panned out. I think didn't he play on the Bengals like behind Carson Palmer too for a minute?
I think he had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I really don't remember. I remember him at UTEP. I don't remember him really in the NFL that much at all.
Him. So just tough. Another couple quarterbacks I want to talk about. First off, I feel like you can't talk about busts without talking about Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf, everyone's heard of his name. I bet no one really knows who this guy is, but they've all heard his name and they like put him synonymously with the word bust because he was taken by the Chargers ahead of Peyton Manning back in the day. And then his career, he ended up getting like hooked on prescription drugs, like breaking into a house. He served over 2 years in prison.
Yeah, he did.
So the dude really went down. He has a mugshot of him that is just amazing too. If you're listening and have a chance to look up Ryan Leaf's mugshot, it's incredible. But him, Vince Young, I know Vince Young provided us with, in my opinion, the best college football game I've ever seen, or maybe in history. And he was a part of the winning play that won that game for Texas. Got drafted by the Titans, and he just never really panned out either, which is sad. But another guy I wanted to talk about for Gibby's sake, Pat White, quarterback for West Virginia.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think Gibby's mentioned it too. He was just ahead of his time at the time. If he does what he does, in today's offense and goes to the league and maybe he finds an offensive coordinator that can cater their offense to him, he might be able to do it. But Pat White and Steve Slayton were maybe the most electric duo college football has ever seen. I mean, that Big East was all it was great before it broke up. That's a little biased, obviously, but Pat White was. I mean, he was
ahead of his time.
He was, and he read that spread offense, which Gibby was here to touch on it a little more. But he was one, and Brady Quinn was another guy I kind of thought about.
I thought about Jimmy Clausen too. I had Brady Quinn and Jimmy Clausen. I kind of scratched them out. They threw the prettiest spirals I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, these guys gonna make it. And Jimmy Clausen wasn't very good. He was second round. Then the next year they drafted Cam first overall, and he just kind of wandered off.
Yeah, not going to top that. I mean, Brady Quinn too. He ended up backing up Tim Tebow for crying out loud. We could put Tim Tebow on this list too, but he was a backup in Denver when Tim Tebow was there. So yeah. All right. Well, I had another guy, dude out of Arkansas, running back Darren McFadden. You could probably
injuries.
Yep, you can relate to this one.
Injuries.
He was drafted by the Raiders, but the dude was like the best running back in college ever. Like he was just a monster down there. And yeah, he just injury
They,
prone.
they had him, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis all on the same team, which is just wild.
Peyton Hillis, Madden cover,
Yep.
2004. I don't
I
know.
can't remember.
I don't know.
Just looking like a linebacker,
Yeah,
250 pounds, all arms.
just a stupid time right there. Yeah. All right. So talking about your Oakland Raiders this weekend, they obviously beat the Chiefs in a pretty good game. Was wondering how you're feeling about your boys right now. They're sitting at 3-2, right behind the defending Super Bowl champs. What are your thoughts right now going forward with the Raiders?
Henry Ruggs in the lineup just changes the whole offense. You could see the games that he's played two. He played Carolina, and they threw the ball downfield, and then he played for Kansas City, and they threw the ball down the field. He just changes the whole offense because he's so fast. I mean, Carr was throwing the ball downfield versus the Chiefs. He had a long throw to Nelson Aguilar. I mean, it was.
And he caught it. Aguilar caught it.
Yeah, no, he's actually played pretty well. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. The defense is still just bad. They have no pass rush at all. Corey Littleton hasn't played that well. They just need to stop signing players from the Rams. That's why I'm convinced, because Joyner hasn't worked. But
yeah, that's what I was saying. And the Rams have had a lot of players. What's his name? Alec Ogletree. I thought he was I was ready to buy an Alec Ogletree jersey. He was a middle linebacker for the Rams a while back, and then the Giants signed him because we couldn't afford him for what he was just cut this past week. So and then you talk about Corey Littleton, who started off playing special teams for the Rams and ended up getting the linebacker spot and did really well, with the Rams. But you're right. Joyner, he was a beast with I wouldn't say beast, but he was decent. He was great. Yeah. Fit in right with that defense, but you're right. I don't know.
They just, and then the secondary is still young. I think before the season, they said they were going to put Joyner at safety, and then they haven't. They just kept him at corner, and same results as last year. The linebackers are bad. The secondary's bad. They don't really have pass rush, and that's just – I don't know what they're doing exactly. I know the first time I was on, I said they'd probably go 8-8, 9-7. I'd probably lean more like 7-9, 8-8. I'm still kind of in the 8-8 range. I mean, they're 3-2, but they still have the Jets, the Falcons, the Dolphins, and the Broncos.
Hey, don't sleep on the Dolphins. Ryan Fitzmagic and the boys are dealing down there.
San Francisco, half their team's out. I don't even really care. And that was impressive, though, because that was a blowout.
I mean, Jimmy G looked like boo-boo. They said they took him out just to protect him, but I don't know. 7 for 17. I think he had like 70 yards, a couple bad picks.
I don't think he was healthy enough to play yet. I think they rushed him back too soon. That's what it had to be.
That's what they say. I'm just going to shit on the Niners anytime I can. But
no, I understand.
They look bad right now. I don't know. I feel like they had a lot of their players back. They're not getting Bosa back for the rest of the year. The rest of that D-line, I don't know. We'll see what the Niners do. Pretty excited for that game Sunday night against the Rams. So back to your Raiders, though. Maybe a positive. Josh Jacobs. He's a promising tailback for Las Vegas over there. What are your thoughts on him? He's only averaging 3.6 yards a carry, and he's getting the ball over 20 times a game. Can they rely on him this year to be the centerpiece and go forward and win some games?
I think so. He's been in the game more than last year for obvious passing downs, because apparently Gruden's known for not trusting rookies in pass protection, running back wise. So he didn't really have that many catches if you look last year, and he wasn't on there in obvious, but he's getting more catches this year. They still use Jalen Richard a little bit just because he's the best pass catcher. But I think Jacobs is probably a top 6 or 7 running back, I'd say.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. I think so. For sure.
I was just making sure I wasn't being.
No, it's hard. Yeah, I know. It's hard when you have a player on your team who's actually pretty good to, put him in that conversation.
I like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I like what he's doing down there. He's obviously getting stuffed at the line a lot, but they keep feeding it to him, and it seems like they're committed and they can get that play action game if Ruggs can be in and spread the field.
I don't think he'll be the best Alabama running back, but I will say it helps. He does not have half the tread on the tires as every other Alabama running back. he really didn't play that much. They had other running backs. That's what kind of helps him, I think, because a lot of them, I mean, you see they work in the NFL, but they also have injury issues too. He really didn't play as much as you would think. So I'm hoping
Yeah,
that
that's what I've
helps as
heard.
far as injury-wise. But
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, get it in while you can till they hit that contract year and they want to overpay a running back. I don't know. How do you feel about running backs? I know Gibby's been like I mean, it's been proven though. What do you feel about these running backs making this much money?
I'm not anti-running back, but it's starting to become more and more obvious if you sign a running back long-term, it's not going to work. I
I
mean,
don't,
Bell just got cut, but yesterday, today, I can't remember.
oh
But
yeah. Oof.
Gurley, he still has flashes, but he's not the old Gurley at all.
No.
McCaffrey, they're 3-0 since he got hurt.
Mike Davis looks
Yeah,
excellent. I mean, he
yeah, he
looks like
does.
he's a $16 million running back right now. So it's just I feel like a position it is becoming more obvious that you could just plug anyone in there and they're gonna do work if they're halfway decent.
I just like Zeke. Zeke's still good, but I think he's gotten. I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear he's had already, and it's kind of shown when the offensive line's not as good. He's not as good either because Cowboys' offensive line kind of fell off a cliff all of a sudden. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm to the point now where I'm just like 4 or 5 years of service. Thank you,
yeah.
handshake. There's the
All right,
door.
who's the next?
Yeah, let's keep them going.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Let's see who else is out there we can grab in the second, third round.
Exactly.
All right, so you talked about Henry Ruggs. Is he a force going into the latter half of the season? I mean, you mentioned he was out, and now he's been a factor going in the past few games. What do you think about him going forward?
I don't think he's the best rookie running back or receiver, but I think he is a force. He's still got injury concerns already, which kind of happens with rookies, obviously, but he's still really skinny. And that kind of is the only part that scares me is he's like, because they compared him to Tyreek Hill, but that's just the speed. Like, they're built different. Like, Tyreek Hill's a little shorter, and Tyreek Hill's actually pretty muscular if you look
Mm-hmm.
at it. Henry Ruggs just
Yeah,
it's
just a stick
bone. That's all it is. That's the only part that kind of worries me is maybe he'll be battling injuries all year, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders haven't had anyone to throw the ball to for a couple of years. I know old Tyrell Williams was kind of the guy last year per se, but he's been hurt. And is he still? What's he doing right now?
He's hurt.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's basically Ruggs, Aguilar, Hunter Renfrow, and they thought Brian Edwards, the rookie, would get a little more snaps than he has this year, but receivers really haven't been a problem.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a decent enough receiving core as long as Derek Carr can get the ball to him.
Yeah,
but
it's another issue.
yeah, that's true. So, who's your favorite player on the Raider offense and the defense? Give me one for each.
Darren Waller, I believe, is the third best tight end in the NFL. We could argue Kittle, Kelsey, whatever. I think Waller's the third best. I think he's better than Ertz. Ertz isn't the same right now. And then on defense, I guess if I had to pick somebody, probably be Max Crosby. He's actually not a bad pass rusher. He's a lot better than Cleveland Farrell, and Cleveland Farrell was a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he's kind of been a disappointment so far, huh?
Yeah, I think Crosby was the fourth round. I'm pretty sure fourth or fifth.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Waller, I was not big on him before the season. I thought last year was kind of a fluke the way he kind of came in and produced. But, I mean, he is their focal point on offense for sure. And he just always seems to be wide the hell open for some reason. So good on him for finding that coverage. Travis Kelce does a really good job with that, just finding, a hole in the zone and just always being wide open. But, yeah, Darren Waller, man, I wish I had him on my fantasy teams, but I passed up on him and all the other tight ends.
So. I'm the same way. Just wait on him.
All right, so let's go to some NFL teams that might be possibly looking for a quarterback next year. So there's some potential quarterbacks out there this year. You can kind of talk about them, but just some teams. We'll go through a list of teams. You tell me if they need a quarterback or not. So start with the Jets. Obviously, the Jets are the dumpster fire of the NFL right now. Adam Gase is just getting – people do not want to play for Adam Gase. It's clear. C.J. Mosley opting out probably because he didn't want to play for him. You talked about Le'Veon Bell. He just got cut yesterday. I like how they said they were going to try to trade him. Everyone knows that he's not going to play another snap after that. So obviously they're going to have to cut him. So just get him for free. Well, not for free, but you know what I'm saying. You don't have to lose any
Right.
draft capital or anything. So Jets, I kind of like Sam Darnold though. I think he's an athletic quarterback for today's NFL. I really think he could be a good in this league. He just kind of got Jude in the team department there going to the Jets. What are your thoughts on him?
I like Darnold. I don't think they should look at quarterback, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did because it's just one of those things. I think Adam Gase is a dead man walking, but there's who knows with the Jets they could keep him. But I don't think Darnold's a problem. But I mean, if you hire a new coach, he's probably just going to want his guy. Like I think a good Darnold destination would be like Pittsburgh or something. Like just see because I don't think they're going to get like a first or maybe they might get a second for him if they try to trade him, but. I mean, if they have the first overall pick and Lawrence is there, it's kind of hard. Even though I like Darnold, but
it would be hard. I mean, you're sitting there staring at somebody who could potentially be a next superstar, but then again, will his career just go there and die like everyone else who goes and gets drafted in the first couple of rounds by the Jets? All right, so let's talk about the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford's been a great quarterback over the years. He's been hurt a lot. He's playing on a broken back last year, but he has 3 years left on his contract, and he's getting like middle of the pack pay. He was like the highest paid when he did get paid, but now he's like 13th highest paid or something like that. Do you think they possibly reach for a quarterback this year or this coming year?
If I was him, I wouldn't because one, the contract. Two, I just don't think Stafford's the problem. They have a million other problems. I don't think Stafford's one of them. They got a coach issue. They have a defense issue. They got offensive line. I wouldn't be surprised, but because it's just if one of those guys is there, half the time they just take them and figure it out after, like let them sit for a year, just trade their starter. But if I was them, I wouldn't. But you never really know.
You like that Jeff Okudah? Cornerback up there from Ohio State?
I liked him in college. I think he was hurt the first 2 weeks or something. I don't think he played. But the Arizona game, he got killed for a second, and then he had a good pick. So he's just been off and on. C.J. Henderson for Jacksonville has actually been better than him so far. And I was kind of surprised because I thought Kudu was a lot better than him.
Yeah, I mean, CJ, you're right. He's been a lockdown dude down there in Jacksonville, one bright spot. Yeah. But I think Okudah – because Gibby had mentioned, we talked about it in a previous episode, that he was just pretty much strictly a coverage corner in college. And, Matt Patricia and the Lions, they run that man-to-man almost more than anyone else. So if he can figure it out, I think he could be a good two-dimensional cornerback, but we'll see about him. Sorry, didn't mean to ramble there.
No, you're good.
All right, so the Giants may be in the business for a quarterback after Danny Dimes just has not looked really good this year. Granted, his O-line sucks. Saquon's dead, so it's not a lot going for him right now. But in my opinion, I feel like they have – this is going to sound crazy – but they have to make the playoffs pretty much in this year in a shitty division with the Cowboys losing Dak for the year. And it's hard to say the Giants and playoffs in the same sentence, but it's not far-fetched because that division is so bad at football. Do you think the Giants reach for a quarterback?
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I mean, Dave Gettleman, if he's still the GM, you have no idea what he's going to do. I kind of like Jones, but he turns the ball over a lot. I start looking through – he's turned the ball over a lot more than Jameis did in the first year and a half, which is just a dangerous sign. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that company.
Right. I'd still give him a chance because he does make some plays where I'm like, okay, because I'll be honest, at Duke, I was just like, he's just another guy. Yeah. It's David Cutcliffe's his coach, so if they have one or two, then maybe. But other than that, I'd sit tight and just see what he does for another year or so. But I wouldn't be surprised if they took one, too.
Yeah, I mean, get another lineman at least. Maybe they win a couple games, fall pick 3 through 6 or something like that, and hopefully rebuild. And Saquon comes back and makes them look better. But we'll see. I don't know. I like him, but he reminds me of right now at least of a worse Jared Goff. He just fumbles the ball. So Goff has a horrible fumble problem, at least in the past couple of years he has.
The small hands.
That lanky, tall body and the small hands, I guess. But I don't know. But another one real quick before you can give me some quarterbacks that you like this year. The Jags. Jacksonville obviously cleaned house. Front office pretty much let everyone go except Gardner Minshew. I think they like him down there, but you think he's their guy?
I like Gardner. I don't know if he's the guy. I kind of look at Gardner kind of like Case Keenum, where if you need a spot starter, you kind of just throw him in there. Because he makes some flash plays, but he also does make some dumb plays, and his arm strength's really a question. So, but he might be good enough where they're kind of tank proof, where they're not a top 5 pick, even though the team's terrible. But he's played pretty well. That they might just get stuck to where they're like, oh, well, we have the 9th overall pick and no one's there. So that's the only problem with him is I think he makes them tank proof. But they are so bad that I wouldn't be surprised if they're still picking the top 4 even with him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they cleaned house. They pretty much drafted all defense, which, they got some. You talked about C.J. Henderson. He could really be the next guy down there. He locked down T.Y. Hilton. Grant T.Y. Hilton's kind of had a down year, but he locked him down the first week. But we'll see how that goes. One more, actually, real quick. I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Interesting one to me. You kind of brought this up too. The first few weeks they looked really bad. They ended up getting a win. Then they should have won that game in Seattle. They pretty much owned the whole game minus the third quarter. Kirk Cousins, we still never know each Sunday what we're going to get from him. We have no idea. He can go out and throw for 72 yards and throw the ball 9 times and 2 picks, or he can go throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, no pick. You never know. He does have 2 more years on his contract, and he's due like $35 million in 2022, which is insane. And like next year, he has $41 million in dead cap hit. $41 million. So I don't think they draft a quarterback this year because of that. Or I don't think there's no one, I don't think they go and reach for someone to put on the bench and like shadow Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? So do you think they possibly could? I don't know if they lose enough games though to get in that like top 5, 6 range.
I think they're better than their record. So I think eventually they'll even out. Of course, their record's so bad, but I try to look for the record. I didn't have it down. Kirk Cousins, you hit on it. The contract makes it almost impossible, I think, to move on from him. And, with that dead cap hit, but like you said, he could go for 72 yards or he could go off for 300. I just think they'll stick tight with him and then just probably end up drafting offensive line or defense or something because their defense is bad, so is the offensive line. But I think they'll stick tight with him.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be on the same page, at least, past not against Seattle, but Justin Jefferson, that rookie at LSU, he's had some big games. Adam Thielen's still doing it. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So, let's have you give us some quarterbacks that we may or may not have thought or heard about going into the draft next year. Obviously, there's a couple big ones, but I'll let you kind of take it from here. Who do you think comes out of the draft and could be good, could be bad, could be a bust, or not?
We know all the top 3. Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. I'll be honest, I have barely watched any North Dakota State games. They're kind of hard to find on TV. They played one game versus Central Arkansas, and he threw his first college pick. But he can run. The problem before the season was who was QB4. I think right now it's Kyle Trask from Florida. He might make his way to the first round. And then QB5 for now is really up in the air. You have Shane Buechele from SMU, but he's kind of small. Then you have Kenny Pickett from Pitt. And then you have the Mormon Manziel, Zach Wilson. Who watch out for Zach Wilson. That's what they call him, the Mormon Manziel. Zach Wilson, he's actually pretty good. He might end up being QB5, but I think he's a junior, so he could come back. I'm pretty sure he's a junior. And then Skylar Thompson at Kansas State, he's actually out for the year, but I feel like he's been at Kansas State for 6 years now. But he can actually, because with the NCAA rules, he could come back another year if he wanted to. Same with Sam Ehlinger. I'm just not a Sam Ehlinger person, obviously, but
Sam Ehlinger plays Texas, so that might be why he's not a fan of him.
But also his passing is not – he lost some weight because I think he had like the Tim Tebow syndrome where his arms were almost too big to throw because they said that was part of a problem with Tebow. Mm-hmm. And I think he lost some weight and it kind of helped, but he's a better passer than he has been, but he still needs a lot of work, I do think.
Yeah, they got the dude out of Georgia too. I think the transfer from Wake Forest, I think last year.
Jamie
He,
Newman,
yeah, yeah, that guy. Um,
he sat
he,
out for the year though.
yeah,
That's
he
something
opted
kind of hard
out.
to point.
So does he have enough on tape? I think he'll probably try to go, go pro next year, but I'm not sure. He talked about Trey Lance. I mean, a lot of people. It may be like for a guy like you who like loves college football, obvious that he's a that third quarterback, but a lot of people still have not heard of this guy. Last year he threw for was it like 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and ran for 14 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. So but he did throw his first pick, like you said. So he might have needed to go 50 touchdowns, 0 picks to make a name for himself out there. But do you think he has enough on tape to, go top 3 or number 3?
It's everything because I'm a huge mock draft person, pretty obvious. But it seems like everyone's convinced that I've read that he is. The only problem I see with some people have is that they don't pass a lot because they're so good they really don't, and that's not their style. Like he'll have some games he'll have like 14 attempts, like
Oh,
last
really?
year, and that's the only problem is he just doesn't really need to force anything because most it's North Dakota State in Division II, so they're going to be better or FCS, but they're just going to be better than most teams they play anyway. They were supposed to play Oregon this year, and I was so excited for it until all that got canceled and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, that would have been a good game. I think that game you were talking about, they just made that game to be like a display game for him.
yeah,
And I don't think they're. I'm trying to look it up right now, but I don't think they're going to play another game this year.
no, that's their only game. He already
And
declared for the draft. They
oh, okay.
they played Central Arkansas, who shout out to them. They'll play anybody and everybody. I think they're playing a team twice this year. I'm pretty sure they're playing them, and then they schedule them again later in the year. I'll have to look, but
Really? Like
I'm
a
pretty
good
sure
team
they're
or
playing. I think it's just another team like them. Who knows? I don't know.
yeah,
But I'm pretty sure when I looked on their schedule, they played a team twice.
that's interesting. Yeah, so
but
his stats for that game, let's see, he missed some throws, made some mistakes. He was 15 for 30, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Ran for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns though. So
yeah,
I don't know what people think of that, but it'd be interesting to see where
they,
he goes.
the only part, like with Jamie Newman, you said, is when his best receiver didn't play, he was not very good. Sage Surratt, when he didn't
Yeah.
play, but Wake Forest did get in some shootouts last year. He's part of it. And then, I mean, Georgia has JT Daniels now, and he's not even playing. I think they cleared him to play, but their quarterback now is playing so well, they just kept him in.
Hmm. Cool. Well, all right. That's our QB college talk right there. We'll go back to the NFL. So give me some games. It's a big week in the NFL. There's some good games out there. What are some games you're looking forward to this week?
Cleveland and Pittsburgh is the game I circled. Because that division's so going to be so close that each head-to-head between them two and obviously Baltimore is really going to matter. Plus, you get the Steelers defense versus the Browns offense. I also put the Packers versus Tampa. I think Green Bay is going to win, but that's just me. And then obviously, I think Monday night is the Bills and the Chiefs, which could be the two best teams in the AFC squaring off.
Yeah, I mean the Bills got the shit beat out of them yesterday. But other than that, they have looked really good. I would say they're probably going to win that division up there in the AFC East. But who knows with old Bill Belichick and Cam Newton. But yeah, that Browns game is going to be good. I still don't think they make it to the playoffs just because I don't think they're going to be top 2 in their division. I know there's an extra playoff spot. I do think they can win 8 games, possibly 9, and not even get in.
Right.
But I still think 7-8 is more realistic. They're riding the high right now. They look great. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say that. If they could just keep running the ball and be smart with that, they're going to be all right. And then get the play action game with those 2 receivers. But it'll be a good game because Pittsburgh looks damn good right now too. So AFC, I would say the AFC North they look better than the NFC West, who everyone pretty much thought was like the cream of the crop this year, which they're good. We'll see what the 49ers can do, and the Cardinals. We really don't know what we're going to get from the Cardinals because they just
No.
they beat the Jets, so it's like, but yeah, it'll be a good one. I like. I'm interested to see the Bears Panthers game this
I
week.
had that game written down too as like a kind of like a sleeper game that could actually be pretty interesting.
Yeah, just because the Bears keep winning somehow. I'm not
I
big
don't
on the
know.
Bears. I think they're pretenders, but I'm more interested to see the Panthers because it's a team that no one expected to do anything this year at all, and they're 3-2. They're tied for first in that division right now. The Saints are 3-2. The Bucks are 3-2. So I'm excited to see them against that Bears defense. What can Teddy do? Because they got some weapons too, even without Christian McCaffrey. So that'll be an interesting one. Packers Bucks, you mentioned. I had that one circled. Yeah, I think the Packers are my favorite right now to win the Super Bowl going forward.
Yeah.
What about you? Who do you like in the NFC? Give me a team from the NFC. Give me a team from the AFC. Who you like the most?
I'm still going Chiefs just because they have Mahomes. They're kind of sleepwalking through everything right now, which I kind of get. But Buffalo, maybe it's kind of weird because I thought the defense would be good and the offense would be bad, but it's kind of vice versa this year. Diggs really helped them, but they I want to say Seattle's so bad, but the defense really scares me because I like Russ, but the defense is bad. So I actually have Green Bay as well. So I didn't know that's who you had, but that's who we both have for coming out of the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the defense for Seattle just scares me. The Green Bay defense, they give up big plays too, but they are a little better and they have better players out there than because you got Jamal Adams and he has been out for the past couple of weeks, but he can only do so much. That D line is still not good. Um, and the Griffin brother with two hands, he's a decent cornerback, but that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I just worry about them. They should have lost that game against Minnesota. Minnesota ran all over them. You talked about the O line was weak, and it didn't matter. Dalvin Cook, Madison back there, he still had a big game too. But yeah, I got to go with the Packers, man. Aaron Rodgers and the boys are just humming right now. So
Did you see the Jamal Adams picture he posted? They end up deleting of him wearing the helmet on the couch.
no,
He was watching it was either last week or this past week. He was watching the game and he had like basketball shorts on his couch, standing up with his helmet on. And he just took the picture like, whatever. Well, I don't think he noticed that he had a blunt was sitting on the table. Like you could see it between his legs, like on the table, standing in front of him. I guess people called him out and he ended up deleting the picture.
oh, that's hilarious. Hey, he's trying to heal up, trying to get better.
Yeah, he is in Seattle, so.
Yeah, hey, fair game. It's funny. All right. So we talked about the Browns and a little bit of the Cardinals, but since you are an Oklahoma fan, give me your thoughts on where Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray are right now in their career. What do you think about those two?
Baker's thrown for 200 yards once this year. I knew it was kind of low, but I was really surprised. But, I mean, Chubbs is maybe I'd say a top 3 running back. And I think Hunt seriously might be a top 10 running back. I think they have 2 top 10 running backs.
Oh, easily. I think we've talked about on this show before. They're both top 10 running backs. I think we all agree the best duo in the league, and they're not losing as great as Chubb is. They're not losing anything except for maybe a little stamina in the backfield. But it doesn't matter. We saw it the past couple of weeks. It does not matter. They're going to run the ball, hopefully, if they're smart. And yeah.
But I think this system kind of fits him best. I thought he could be a spread them out like it was in college. He can't do that in the NFL. Freddie Kitchens tried it. So, like, Stefanski's offense has a lot of rollouts and bootlegs and stuff like that. And Baker's really good at throwing on the move. And I've noticed this year he's thrown a lot more on the move than he did last year, and I think he's played better. I think this just might be how he's got to win is in the NFL is just the game manager style, just a little bit better of a game manager, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. And you can see it too. Like you said, they tried it last year and he was just sitting back in the pocket, happy feet, stuttering around and then just sailing balls. He didn't look as good, but he does throw well on the move. All those rollouts. I mean, he's been dropping dimes. I've hated on the Browns and Baker a lot this before the season, but they do look good if they can just keep running the ball. Kareem Hunt, I mean, people forget about Kareem Hunt was like a top 3, top 4 running back when he was in Kansas City.
You say, yeah.
So he's back and he's fitting in that system well. All right, so what about Kyler Murray over there in Arizona, a team that came out, went 2-0. Everybody was on the train. Then they drop a game against the Lions, and then they drop another one and beat the Jets. So they're 3-2. They're playing in a tough division. What are your thoughts on Kyler? You think he could be a superstar?
I think so. He does. I've noticed because I try to watch every Cardinals game. He struggles on like the intermediate throws, and the only thing I can chop it up as is it's just the height. They run out shotgun every single play, and I think it has to be the same thing because he's got the arm. He obviously gets balls batted down a lot too, but it has to be the height, which kind of worries me. And I don't think Kingsbury's as bad as some people think, but I don't think he's as good as some people think too. I think he's somewhere kind of maybe lower tier, but not all the way. But they're kind of the polar opposite of what I said about the Bills. I thought the offense would be good for Arizona and the defense would be bad. And it's kind of flipped. The offense has been kind of mediocre and the defense has actually played pretty well. It kind of hurts him. Chandler Jones is out for the year now. But
yeah, I was going to say that. I just saw that today. He's out for the season, so that sucks. I mean, they overpaid Buda Baker. In my opinion, they paid him a lot of money back there.
He's good, but I think he's one of the top paid safety, one of the top paid safeties.
I think he was the top paid safety ever in NFL history.
Yeah, I think so. And then they draft Isaiah Simmons and just don't know what to do with him. He barely plays. They put him at linebacker to start the year, and Kyle Shanahan took advantage of it so bad they had to pull him out of the game. And now they said they're going to try him at safety. I just don't know why you drafted him and play him at linebacker when he was basically a safety in college anyway. But
yeah, he did. He mainly played safety. I watched him. They were fun to watch last year. So they played him at safety a lot. They played him in the slot as a slot corner a lot too. Not a lot, but a little bit. But yeah, I feel bad for him because I liked him a lot coming out of college. I thought he was going to be like the next defensive guy, but hopefully they figure that out. But yeah, how tall is Kyler Murray? 5'9", 10?
I think he's listed at 5'10". I don't believe it for a second.
He looks small out there. I mean, but
he looks on the field. He looks 5'4". I know he's not 5'4", but he looks like someone's nephew ran out with a helmet and just started running around there. But I think on the Oklahoma baseball website, he was like 5'9". I think he's right around there, 5'9", 5'9.5", if I had to guess. But
yeah,
and then Baker was a little taller than I thought at the combine. He was closer to 6'1" than he was 6 foot.
Yeah, Kyler looks hilarious out there running. I mean, Grant, he's fast as hell, but he
is.
He did, like his little arms running real. I don't know. He looks funny out there, but he's a good quarterback. I think he could definitely, be great. People after the first 2 games, MVP. Well, I live in Arizona, so there's a bunch of Cardinals fans here.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it this year. They got to figure it out. Cliff Kings, I think they'll be okay. Like I said, they're in a tough division, so it does not help them at all with winning. I have a $100 bet, I think, with Cheech that the Cardinals don't win 10 games. He believes they will still, actually. But that's going to be hard to do.
Who finishes last in that division?
What's that?
Who finishes last in that division?
Before the season, I would have to say the Cardinals, but I'm telling you, the 49ers have some problems right now. I know they were hurt, but they had a lot of people back last week. And I just going into division play too. They've already lost to the Cardinals. Still got to play the Seahawks twice. Still got to play the Rams twice. The NFC West did get hooked up with strength of schedule. We got to play the NFC East. And the who was the other? The AFC East too. So we get the Jets, the Dolphins, and all those teams. But it's just going to be hard for them. So honestly, right now, I don't want to say the Niners because they were my number 1 on my power rankings before the season. So it's hard for me to say that, but I don't know. To answer your question, I have no idea.
I think it's San Francisco as well, but they've just looked so bad. And I know they're injury ridden, but still, it's like you would think they put up a fight versus Miami, but it was not a fight at all. But
nope,
yeah, I think it's
almost lost by 30. So I mean, Kittle was there. Garoppolo tried to be there. Oh man, Bosa getting out for the year, it definitely hurts them. But all right, we'll
Yeah, for
wrap
sure.
up on one last topic. What the hell is going on down in Oklahoma right now? Spencer Rattler named starting quarterback. I know he's a young guy, but he looks, less than stellar at most times, in my opinion. I haven't watched a lot of college football, but I tried to watch some highlights of him, get a little better of a feel. What are your thoughts on that program right now, who's been pretty dominant?
This team's younger than like. I know we didn't do official like when I was on the first time prediction. I wouldn't have had them in the playoff just because I knew they were young. I didn't think they were going to be like start. I thought they might have 2 losses at the end of the year. I didn't think they'd have 2 losses, 4 games into the season. Rattler, it's just weird. I think Oklahoma fans, from what I've been trying to look through, kind of have the same issues I do. Is he's got all the talent, but we're not used to freshman mistakes.
Yep.
Baker already played Texas at Texas Tech. Kyler already played at Texas A&M, and Jalen Hurts was really experienced. So
Right.
Rattler just makes freshman mistakes, like not getting the ball off fast enough, getting sacked, or just throwing a pick that's dumb. And I think he's got all the talent in the world. It's really obvious. It's just freshman mistakes that no one that I feel like I'm still kind of getting used to myself, because I'm just like, I haven't seen this in years. What's
Yeah.
this dumb decision you're making? It's the defense has talent. They just do not have depth at all. I mean, there's probably, I'd say, 3 or 4 guys who's probably going to play in the NFL, but after that, they just don't have anything. That's really the main concern, I'd say.
I mean, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. They've had some experienced dudes back there and a lot of raw talent, but that's a good point. You heard it here first. Oklahoma Sooners will win the 2023 national championship.
There we go.
They have
Can't
all
wait. I'll be there,
the.
front row.
All right, Tyler. Well, thank you so much for coming on and filling in. And anytime you want to come on, let me know. Make sure everyone, subscribe to our little channel here. Check us out on Spotify and Facebook, Instagram, all that. But thanks for coming on, man. And you have anything else you want to share?
No, just thanks for having me on. Anytime you need me, I'm ready to go. Just give me a heads up.
All right, I
I'm ready
got
to
you,
talk
man.
football anytime.
Cool.
All
Thanks.
right, man. I'll see you.